I moved to that remote spot in Alaska back in September, searching for peace away from the crowds. The cabin wasn't much, just tarps and planks I cobbled together myself, but it became home, a fragile fortress against the endless wild. My dog Buddy was always by my side, a constant in the frozen solitude as I chopped wood or fixed things. One cold December night, I made a mistake that changed everything. I awoke to a strange sound like rain tapping on the roof. But it wasn't rain. Drops of melting plastic sizzled against the floor. Smoke was already thick, creeping into the corners, feeding on the dry wood. The fire had started inside the stove, where I'd shoved cardboard to get the flames hotter. A spark must have flown up the chimney, landing on the brittle roof. Flames licked the edges, spreading faster than I could breathe. "Buddy, come on, boy," I yelled, grabbing him by the collar. He whimpered, frightened by the heat pressing in. I tried to pull him out, but the fire roared louder, blocking the door. My heart slammed as the ammunition I kept started popping, bullets firing like gunshots in the confined space. Then a propane tank exploded, shaking the ground, shards flying like deadly rain. I barely made it outside, coughing, burns stinging my arms. Behind me, the cabin was a raging inferno. Buddy's howls cut the roar. He was still inside. I ran back, throwing snow at the flames with bare hands, screaming his name into the choking fire. "Buddy, get out here!" But the heat slammed me away and his cries faded. He didn't make it. In the dark, alone with dying embers, cold seeping deep into my bones, I curled into a hole I dug in the snow that first night, shivering, silent. The next days blurred into a nightmare. I scavenged cans, everything tasted like burnt plastic. I built a rough tent from scraps, propping it around the old stove to keep a little fire alive. Bark and a candle barely fed the flames. The wilderness stretched endless and unforgiving. No roads, no people for miles. Nearest neighbor 20 miles away. No way out. Hunger gnawed, burn stung. Night stretched forever. The wind howled like footsteps in the black. I sat up alone, gripping a stick like a weapon, whispering to the dark, "Show yourself." Rustling circled the tent. Was it animal or something worse? A predator drawn in by the fire's signal. Paranoia gnawed sharp teeth. Sleep came fractured by flames and haunting howls. Days passed in ghostly silence. I stamped an SOS in the snow, letters black with ash. "Help me," I whispered, hope fading into white cold. Then on the 23rd day, a distant thump. "A helicopter," I stumbled, waving wild. "Rescue." Thin, burned, barely standing. Doctors fixed my broken body, but the scars inside ran deeper. The wilderness doesn't forget, and neither do I. My friends and I always escaped to that old cabin by the river when we wanted some time away from town. It stood alone, built from thick logs salvaged from railroad ties, hidden deep in the woods on the edge of Brownstown. No one bothered us there. We could talk, laugh, forget about the pressures of school or family. That December evening in 1971, 4 of us headed out. Jim, Dave, Paul, and me. I was the youngest at 17, and Jim led the way as usual, carrying a lantern and a bag of snacks. We arrived as the light faded, swallowed by thick trees. The cabin was one room, stone fireplace, a few creaky chairs, and a table we had dragged in years ago. Paul started a fire to warm the room. "This beats sitting at home," he said, rubbing his hands. Dave nodded, pulling out a deck of cards. "Winner gets first pick of the sandwiches." We settled around the fire, laughter hiding the chill creeping into our bones. Jim dealt cards, face lit by firelight. We joked about girls and dreams beyond the woods. Then Paul stood needing some air. He opened the door. Cold wind rushed in. Minutes passed. Paul didn't return. Dave muttered, uneasy. Jim shrugged. Probably stargazing. Then came a thump. Something heavy hitting the ground outside. "Paul, you okay out there?" No answer. A knot twisted in my chest. We grabbed the lantern, stepped outside into the biting cold. Paul wasn't there. Then Dave spotted a boot behind a tree. We ran. Paul lay face down, blood pooling beneath his head. Nearby, a rock stained red. Fear clenched us tight. Who did this? I whispered, trembling. Jim knelt, No breath in Paul's chest. Panic swallowed the night. Dave looked wild. We have to call for help. But no phone. Jim nodded, grave. We wait till morning, safer. Cold silence filled the cabin. The fire died low, shadows dancing with our dread. Then came a faint scratching at the door. Soft, like nails clawing wood. Dave jumped. Hear that? Jim held a hand up. Shh. The scratching grew louder. No reply to Jim's call. The door handle rattled. Someone trying to get in. Go away, Dave shouted. The rattling stopped. Footsteps circled the cabin, slow and deliberate. I peered through the window. A shadow shifted, taller than any animal. Someone's out there, I whispered. Jim grabbed a log. If he comes in, we fight. Dave picked up a chair. We waited. Breath held tight. Then the smell, sharp like gasoline. Flames licking the cabin base. Fire! I yelled. The walls are burning. We rushed to the door. Locked, blocked from outside. Smoke filled the room, eye stinging and thick. Dave ran to the window, smashed the glass. But metal bars held firm. Our prison bars. Coughing, we smashed at the door. Wood splintered, but fire roared louder. Dave's sleeve caught flame. He beat it out, pain flashing in his eyes. The roof's going, I gasped. Dave climbed toward the window, trying to squeeze out. I can almost fit. The fire groaned, or a beam fell, pinning him down. Dave screamed, Get this off me! Jim and I pulled with all we had. Flames devouring wood and flesh. Dave's cries faded. No, go without me, he whispered. Jim shook his head. But the fire's closing in. Smoke twisted vision. We shoved through the door just enough to escape. Flames scorched my hair as I tumbled out. Jim was right behind me, collapsing beside me. We looked back. The cabin was an inferno. Dave's screams silenced forever. The shadow watching in the woods had vanished. We have to run, Jim said, pulling me up. We stumbled away, the fire's heat burning our backs. By dawn, we reached town battered and choking. We told the sheriff everything. The ruins were searched. Charred remains. The body of Paul lost to flame. Officials called it arson. Accelerant poured. The door blocked. Questions asked. Locals, hunters, even us. No one caught. Years later, I still wake to the smell of smoke. Hear the scratches at the door. The cabin may be gone, but the fear never left. Uncle Jim was always like a shadow, lurking just out of sight. Dad's best friend since forever. The guy who showed up at every birthday with jokes that hid something deeper. His log cabin in Boulevard was his pride, a hideaway in the hills where pine trees whispered secrets, and a creek sang cold and dark. Mom, my little brother Ethan, and I went there often, laughing, cooking, pretending life was safe, but that last visit shattered it all. It began on a Friday evening, early August. Uncle Jim's call came soft but strange. He was moving to Texas soon and wanted a goodbye dinner. Bring the kids, Tina, he said. Steaks and marshmallows for the fire pit. We packed the car, Ethan buzzing with excitement for the old model cars Uncle Jim let him play with. I was 16, distracted by my phone, cheer practice, and a growing unease I couldn't place. The cabin smelled the same as always. Old wood, fire smoke, and something sour beneath it all. Uncle Jim greeted us with hugs that lingered too long. Hannah, you're growing, he said, holding my shoulders with a grip colder than the evening air. His eyes held a secret that sent a chill crawling down my spine, but I brushed it aside. Family, right? We ate steaks, potatoes, salad, and he kept stealing looks at me, like a shadow watching from the corner. You know, Hannah, if I were younger, we'd go on some adventures, he winked, but the smile didn't reach his eyes. I texted my friends, desperate for normalcy. Outside by the fire pit, he sat closer than comfortable. You're special, Hannah. Don't forget that. His voice dropped. Not kind, not safe. I moved closer to Mom, heart thudding in silence. We left late, waving goodbye to the cabin that had suddenly turned cold and sinister. The next day, Saturday, I had cheer practice in Lakeside, but Mom never showed up. My phone buzzed, a text from Uncle Jim. Your mom asked me to get you. She's busy. Meet me in the parking lot. Something in my gut twisted. But he was family, so I went. His blue Nissan waited, windows down. Hop in, kiddo. He smiled, but his smile cracked. I need help with something before I pack. Where's Mom? I asked. His face hardened. She's meeting us at the cabin. Surprise trip. We drove toward Boulevard, but then he turned off the main road. Shortcut, he muttered. The forest thickened, phone signal dropped. I tried calling Mom. Silence. Uncle Jim, this isn't the way, I whispered, voice trembling. His eyes locked on the road, cold and unyielding. Change of plans, Hannah. You and me. A little adventure. My throat closed. Take me home. He shook his head. Can't do that. Your mom and Ethan aren't coming. His words fell like stones. I grabbed the door handle. It didn't budge. Don't try anything. There's a gun in the glove box. I froze. This wasn't the Uncle Jim I knew. The eyes staring at me were those of a stranger, an enemy. We drove for hours, stopping only once at a gas station where he made me wait in the car. If you run, I'll find you, he whispered. The normal disguise fell away as he confessed his twisted obsession. I've always cared about you, Hannah. More than anyone knows. His words crawled over me like ice. He spoke of how your mom didn't deserve you, how we'd start fresh. My skin prickled with fear and disbelief. One night, in a dark forest tent, his presence too close, promise and threat wrapped in one. I won't hurt you, unless you make me. I lay awake, heart pounding like a drum in the black, his mind unraveling like the night. He talked about Mom and Ethan, about an accident, a fire. My blood ran cold. I did what I had to, he said, voice sharp with hate. He held the gun like a dark talisman. I was trapped with the monster who once was family. Then one night, helicopters thundered overhead. He pulled me into the tent. Quiet, quiet. Shots rang out, loud cracks in the wilderness. He fell. FBI stormed in, hands raised, tears flowing. Safe, finally. At the hospital, the truth came hard and cruel. Uncle Jim had killed Mom and Ethan, burned the cabin, took the dog, snuffed out all traces. His sick obsession shattered my world. I survived, but the shadow lingers, cabin gone, ashes cold, and the fear, it never dies. And that, my friends, is the truth behind cabins once meant for comfort, now lost to darkness, blood and flame. Every story reminds us, sometimes the wildest monsters wear familiar faces, sometimes evil hides in silence, watches from the shadows, or lurks in the hearts of those we trust. Those cabins are ashes now. Secrets forgotten by daylight, but their fears linger. So the next time you find yourself alone in the wild, remember, the real horror follows you home. If you felt the chill run down your spine tonight, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Shiver Hollow. Send this story to your friends, and join me on my channel, because with you all, I begin a new journey into deeper darkness and untold mysteries. Stay brave, stay curious, and stick with Shiver Hollow for tales that will haunt you. Long after the fire dies down, see you in the next story.